So I got cut off again because I didn't have enough storage space again. So just to finish up some final thoughts on this Archon Moon Matrix Soul Trap. It sort of goes in tandem with this idea of what is called a non-player character (NPC), which has also gained popularity in recent years. In the idea being that there are the vast majority of humans that are walking around that you see are just basically soulless androids. Again, same sort of. It all kind of seems to tie in with this video game culture, doesn't it? This obsession with video games and assuming that this too is a game, and in a sense it is, but I really hate this NPC idea even more than I hate this Archon idea, even though, let me make myself perfectly clear that 100% this world is under evil demonic control. Evil demonic extraterrestrial control. That is true. I'm not denying that in any way. There is some kind of harvest going on here, some kind of energy harvest. I don't know exactly what it is. I think whatever it is they're harvesting is too advanced for us to conceptualize in our phase in evolution. And what I'm saying is that these are more technologically advanced, evolved races that are doing this business. And we shouldn't assume that we necessarily know what sort of energy they're harvesting. There is something very negative and evil going on here, and it's becoming worse so every single day, no doubt. And my belief on the NPC is that it is not correct. I think the vast majority of people that you see do have souls. It really kind of puts a person up on a pedestal. Like, who are you to say, I have a soul and you don't? What kind of person are you? It kind of implies that you're the one that doesn't have a soul. If you're gonna come up to someone, even if you just think about it, and say to them, hey, you don't have a soul, how about look into yourself? Maybe you don't have a soul because you're saying this terrible thing about this person who may not be as sophisticated or as intelligent or as spiritual as you are. It may be a simpler soul that is on a lower level of spiritual evolution, and you are making judgments about that person just because they do not believe the same things that you do, that they don't have the same understandings that you do. Let's face it, that the majority of the world is unable to even focus on spirit because they're too busy struggling to survive, especially now when you have a large segment, half of the population of the planet being subsistence farmers, and the majority of the other half living in urban slums. And they're fairly uneducated in many cases. They don't have they have religion shoved down their throat since an early age, whether it be Islam or Hinduism. So that's all they know. That's what they grew up in, and they stick to their religion, their belief system, because it helps them make it through their miserable life of $3 a day that they earn or whatever. And we're getting poorer. The bankers are taking everything from us. They're taking everything from the Western world now too, and we're all becoming serfs. Having said that, don't judge. Don't assume someone has a soul or doesn't have a soul. If I were you, I would assume that they do have a soul. That is, if you want to express love to someone, how are you going to express it by, oh, he's just an NPC, it's okay. Go ahead, do whatever you want, slaughter that person. How is that loving? How can you even look into an animal's eyes and say that the animal doesn't have a soul. There's something wrong with you if you bought into this NPC bullshit. Having said that, I do believe there's a very small percentage of actual NPCs in the world, and they're growing. And the reason why I believe that, and what I mean by that is, whether it's android humanoids, whether it's some kind of cyborg, remote controlled brain interface system that is being tested and placed in certain people. And I believe this is part of the singularity that Ray Kurzweil talks about, and this sort of technological nirvana that they're trying to reach. And yes, they are testing out, probably with the help of ET races and underground bases, putting out into the population certain amounts of android robotic humanoids to see if they could blend in as a test subject. On top of that, they're trying to map a grid of the real Earth to create an artificial one, so that they can continue to live some sort of Elysium-like existence in their fate is destruction. They're trying to survive. What we're facing on Earth is the end of a cycle and an apocalypse. We're at the end of a vast, grand cosmic cycle, and we're facing a reset. And they know this, and that means in this reset, they're going to be wiped clean, and they're not going to have any harvest. They're not going to be able to work here, so they're trying to make a copy. So that's why they're overlaying this sort of matrix system over the Earth. So yeah, everything does feel NPC and fake and robotic, because it's becoming that, because they're trying to make a twin, a copy of the Earth, so that they can take that copy and sort of transmute it, or download it rather, into some sort of sophisticated AI system, so that they can continue to survive. And we here move on to what they would call the new heaven and the new earth. How this process works exactly, nobody knows. If they tell you they do, they're lying. We will be facing very, very cataclysmic events. I've seen this in dreams. I've seen coronal mass ejections from the sun. I've seen massive tsunamis flooding coastlines. I've seen asteroids and comets and all these things that are just dismantling this construct to bring in a new heaven and a new earth. They want to maintain their construct. So yes, they are creating NPCs. They are creating... Look at the sky, the moon and the sun. They look so wrong. They look so off. They feel off. Everything feels dead and decaying, because it is. And they are creating NPCs, and they're creating clones, and they're taking our DNA, and they want to somehow transfer this information into an Elysium. I believe it's an Elysium type existence that is inside a computer, trapped in the internet. Totally possible. Totally possible. Will some people be trapped with them? Not out of the realm of the possibility, which, like I've said before, it's totally possible. We might have some souls that are trapped in some sort of cycle that they've entrapped themselves into by their own choices. Or they just simply enjoy it, and they've kind of joined the dark side, and they've joined what we would call the fallen angels, which are actually the planets, Jupiter, Saturn, all that. Having said that, the Archons want you to believe that you're all trapped, that you're not loved, that you're NPCs, that you're this and that. Because they want you to build that mindset so that you can become part of their Elysium too. I don't know. It's all speculation though. So I encourage you not to think of others as NPCs and try to learn to love one another and every person, as hard as it may be sometimes, because a lot of people are stupid and dumb, and I can't stand it either, and you got to slap them around. But we got to have a different mindset, guys. It's not correct. It's not correct. People have souls. Gingers have souls too. People are loved. Animals are loved. The world is loved. God is love. Don't forget, God is love.